Hello, everyone, and welcome to Scale and Adapt, the podcast where we dive into how innovative leaders stay resilient, adapt fast, and scale what works. I'm Kathryn Aimaq, founder and CEO of Scale Advisors AI. We help companies accelerate growth and build smarter operations through data-driven strategy and intelligent automation. Today, I'm joined by Alexander Hagen, CEO of Etheric Networks, a company redefining connectivity across California through hybrid fiber and fixed wireless innovation. Alexander, welcome to the show. Great to have you here. Let's start with your story. How did Etheric Networks come to life, and what's your focus day-to-day leading the organization?
Well, thank you very much, Kathryn. We started Etheric Networks in 2003 on January 1st, and then went live April 1st with our network. Previously, I worked at NTT Docomo in research and development for 3G. NTT Docomo had the first internet on phones of anybody. It was in Japanese and not in English, the first instance, which was called iMode. And then prior to that, I worked at Berkeley Networks, working in the gigabit switch router startup. And, that's enough for now about my background. For the first 10 years, we worked building out a network of fixed wireless towers. Internet was horrendous, virtually all of it, or fantastically expensive when you wanted quality. Then about 10 years into our program of rollout in the greater Bay Area, we acquired a fiber backbone ring. Um,
Mhm.
and that greatly improved the manageability of the network, because once it was on the fiber ring, it was less complex to manage than a maze of microwave backbone links. At the time of COVID, we made some other changes. We did some major government initiatives, uh, and um, and recently we've been working with government tribes doing consulting. And when we look at our industry, in terms of your question about resiliency,
Mhm.
um, we see a lot of people that are trying to develop some value proposition above and beyond connectivity. It's not really enough anymore if you want to stay in the game long term, unless you're a behemoth, to only offer connectivity. So it's interesting to see what my other friends are doing in this industry. I have a friend up in Napa Valley who is providing a sort of a iPhone-like app for measuring water, for also being able to set and get the data and set the environment, activate things. Uh, we have a friend down in Salinas who's working mainly on one new trend is the data center has come back into focus with AI. And there's a lot of activity in the cloud migration. So we are working
Mhm.
on a secure, and there's also concerns about security and confidentiality. Um, so, um, so we're looking at and have a pipeline of private cloud activities to get people off of Azure, off of Amazon, and it doesn't make the job any harder with the stability issues that they've had.
Oh,
Although,
gosh, just the other
uh, you know,
day.
any of us have to be humble about that. Just because we don't have those issues doesn't mean they couldn't happen to us too.
Right. 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 And when you say some of the issues that they're having, I mean, just the other day, Amazon was down and none of us could do anything. So I see where you're going with that.
Well,
Absolutely.
we weren't. None of our services were down. We don't have any dependencies on Azure or Amazon.
That's amazing. Well, that's really actually a great differentiator. Tell us a little bit more about, some of the changes that you see in the broadband and connectivity space right now. And tie that back to kind of you not having any of those particular issues, if you want to focus on that
Yeah,
area.
sure. Everybody has to develop their own differentiators. And early on, we built like a dual or even triple backbone system. So when other providers went down, there was a guy cutting the fiber around here. He was clearly a former tech work who used to work with AT&T or Comcast or one of their
Mhm.
subs. So that didn't affect us either. So we have kind of had a paranoid strategy, which is to make sure that we can survive multiple insults to the system.
Right.
And what you're describing with Amazon and Azure, we simply have, racks of servers running the various virtualizations, Proxmox, VMware, everything's mirrored. So we have been fortunate enough we haven't had any failures that would affect A and B. As long as your A and or B is up, everything is up to the customer. So what was your other part of your question?
It was just specifically around broadband and connectivity space. Like what changes are you seeing happening in the industry?
Well, in broadband, it's getting, there's an enormous amount of competition now because of VLEO satellite um,
Mhm.
and LEO satellite. And there are, severe problems with the amount of from my own point of view, we should be talking 1 to 2,000 satellites in a constellation, not 10
Mhm.
or 100,000. It creates a vast set of problems, and it's less
Right.
efficient than terrestrial. It's obviously convenient to simply put a canopy over the whole world, but each of these satellites, right now we're having 5 satellites disintegrating into our environment every day. Um, if the satellite junk starts to be, it already is a point where it's a hazard to being able to leave our atmosphere. Um,
Right.
so that's another problem. And then, of course, if people develop a high reliance on it, and there is any kind of military conflict, that whole system is completely vulnerable to just
Right.
disappearing. Uh, but nonetheless, let's give acknowledgement, to what they've done. There's still terrible challenges for satellite, which is really you cannot maintain a high-speed system more than one house per square kilometer is what we've worked out. Uh, so there's a lot of competition there. We see that in the numbers. Charter is churning, shrinking. Comcast is churning, shrinking. T-Mobile, the 5G. So, we sort of had everything to ourselves compared to what we have currently. So that's why we've diversified into managed services, AI consulting, a private cloud, um, is to have many bowls of rice for our business, as they
Right.
say. Um, and, the other a big competitor are the 5G operators, and T-Mobile has had the best performance of AT&T, Verizon, or T-Mobile.
That's
Uh,
who I'm on. In the middle,
okay.
I live in the middle of nowhere, so I kind of fall in that area that what kind of what you support. And I live in a little tiny town called Newcastle, which I hear has got the worst internet connection in pretty much all of California, if not the entire US.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Apparently.
if you're working from home, you should have probably a dual connection, um, and that can, reduce your downtime by 3 orders of magnitude.
Right. Right. 100%. Yep. Thank you for sharing that, Alexander. Can you talk a little bit about, the details you just gave around some of the competitors and sounds like there's a junkyard going on out in outer space right now. Tell me a little bit about how the trends influence Etheric's strategy and technology roadmap.
Well, there's sort of two aspects of resilience and sustainability. I mean, one is for each of us who've started a company, we want to be able to hand that maybe to the next generation or make sure it retains value so we can sell it or simply continue to operate. Um, so everybody has to make their own judgment call what sustainability looks like for them.
Mhm.
And I think that most operators with, say, less than 1,000 employees, for example, they should develop specializations. So I've already outlined what some of ours are.
Mhm.
Um, and another area that we're looking at is renewable energy and low water consumption AI micro data centers. So
Mhm.
we're working on a project to deploy 20 acres of solar panels, which should be able to power 2,000 NVIDIA modern H100 GPUs and only use 1/3 of a household's water per year. Um, and that is a big concern, is that rather than getting AI right, uh, X and OpenAI, I'm not criticizing any one company, but the general trend is just it's an arms race. And that also creates, the risk that when the bubble pops, what is going to happen to whom, we don't know. I'm old enough to remember the dot-com bubble burst and saw a lot of people who had invested in telecom lose all their money. If they just stuck in there for about 10 or 20 years, they probably would have bounced back if they'd been buying, Cisco and Sun and Intel stock. So that's a concern I have. Another concern in terms of resilience is simply the fact that we are burning the planet out, and
Right.
we could make the world a utopia or a dystopia.
Right.
And I, have a friend who's very, very conservative, who was joking to me that we don't need universal basic income. We need universal very high income.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a good point, Alexander. And the sustainability piece and keeping our Earth in a better place just goes to show what you and etheric systems are doing. I mean, you guys are you're at least trending in the right direction to help us all um, as a unified planet. Let me ask you, I mean, around balancing growth and reliability and innovation, how are you doing that in such a competitive market today?
Well, we have an established reputation for 21 years. We haven't really screwed up on any of our major clients, knock on wood, for 21 years. So when we go in to talk to people about new technologies, as long as we're honest and do it in a mutually exploratory fashion, we haven't had a lot of pushback. The difficulty is making a lot of changes very rapidly with a finite amount of resources. So
Mm-hmm.
it stretches us individually to pull in these complex architectures. So by integrating security, intrusion detection, high performance, hooks into AI, hooks into cloud, hooks into managed services, um, and then every client is different. Doing custom in the old days was extremely lucrative, but what you might be looking at as a custom implementation, you might have a competitor, which is part of their stock implementation. So the client isn't going to pay you custom if somebody else has it as stock.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I would say the main thing is just when one is developing new uh, services built around a core that you've already established, um, it can just be a lot of work. But we haven't really had too many issues with getting these ideas out to the customer base. People are concerned about privacy, so many companies are developing private based AI, and in particular they're interested in that. There's a lot of people that do a lot of confidential work and they simply cannot do that on a cloud platform, so that provides an opportunity if you can provide those services to people reliably.
Got it. Thank you so much for that. Tell us a little bit about what are your biggest challenges right now? What's been most challenging?
Well, there's many challenges for us. Basically, it's usually when you want to do something big and bold, uh, there's a certain amount of capital associated with it, um, and um, and you have to limit your ambitions to what you can get ROI on, so you don't go over your skis.
Mhm.
So like constructing out Fiber can be extremely risky if you foot all the bills yourselves into an area that's already got fiber. In the areas that don't have it, um, often the distances between households and the income levels also. So, it's tricky to deploy fiber. A lot of people are going through these government grant programs, the state
Okay.
California Advanced Services Fund, the federal BEAD program, and so that can help a lot. So, the capital intensiveness of tilting up services. Um, and then I think in the AI space, um, just getting trying to do this through advertising with the kind of advertising budgets that are out there could be interesting. And we've done most of our work through networking, not through, digital advertising.
Right. That's excellent. That's good to hear. Obviously doing a lot of your bringing on new clients via probably referrals, I'm assuming. A lot of referral-based business
And
versus.
all, yeah, sure, absolutely. And also simply coming up with, some of our clients didn't really know that we did some of these consulting services. They viewed us as a connectivity company.
Mhm.
And so like, oh, you do that too? Oh, that helped us a lot with some native tribe consulting opportunities.
Wow, excellent. Great
Because
work.
the native community, tribal community knew us as people would come out and fix their gear or monitor their gear, but to take it to the next level, just so we were able to reintroduce ourselves to our existing base as well as we develop new services.
That's wonderful. Being able to provide more to your existing customers bodes for a much better overall outcome financially, and in your scenario, that sounds amazing. And kudos to you from just networking and not having to go out there and do too much advertising. You're doing really well and growing year over year. So that's great to see. Specifically around that growth and metrics, when you look at the organization's progress, which numbers or outcomes matter the most to you?
Well, that's a very good question. Yeah, in terms well, obviously you've got lead indicators and lag indicators, and the story is that by the time you've got the lag indicators, you can't actually change the story. That's a story that happened in the past, and the
Right.
lead indicators are going to tell you about the future. So some of it's relatively straightforward. Um, how many deals? What's the average deal size pipeline? Then what's the close rate? Why is the close rate what it is? What can we do to improve the close rate? Then what is the margin? What's an appropriate margin? What's a fair price? And that also gets into consistency. Because if your pricing is too all over the map between different sales reps and different projects, customers can talk. And every once in a while, you'll get somebody saying, "Why are you charging Joe over here different than you're charging
Right.
me?" So uh, then we look at return on assets. ROCE is one of the uh, acronyms, and so that's part of why we've been working on enhancing our services with fiber and with the data centers, because they were originally set up to support our fixed wireless network, but we over-engineered the heck out of these things, so they're extremely we have virtually infinite bandwidth between San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose. We have 8 data centers. Everything's mirrored. So you look at your assets, say, what can we do to improve the return on the assets? And the intangible thing is, how do you create a bulletproof business plan that you have confidence in and that everybody can just focus on executing instead of second guessing? And that's, to me, the most important thing is to have a clear vision that will definitely work. And you're
Mhm.
constantly ingesting more data about whether it will work or not.
Great to hear. Thank you for sharing that. Alongside that, from an indicator standpoint or a marker standpoint, um, how do you know or what tells you that you're moving forward in the right direction? How do you analyze that?
Well, there's two aspects or three. I mean, one aspect is you got your. There was a funny story at Docomo. I was at the meeting in Yokosuka, Japan, and they had all the researchers there, like 3,000 people. And the guy on the stage, one of these top execs, he said, we have to work hard for the current generation. We have to work hard for the next generation. We have to work hard for the previous generation. So we
Mm-hmm.
all have to work like dogs. And then everybody's,
Mm-hmm.
oh, ha, 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 ha. And in a sense, um, you have the previous generation of services. You want to move those people into the more modern services. Sometimes there's no need to do that. You have to service your installed base. Look at your churn. Look at how you can um, grow new product lines for those folks. And then there's the efficient management of your current systems and services. And and then there's the future. And the future, if you have some good ideas, generally involves raising money. Either
Right.
that, or if you are fortunate enough to have a lot of free cash flow, spending your own money,
Right.
making bets on the future, and obviously aligning what you think is going to happen with reality is very important. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so, so right now, I think the biggest overall nationwide question is about AI. Uh,
Right.
and
On my list of questions to ask you, Alexander.
Okay,
Yeah, that's my next question. I mean, you brought AI up, but how do you envision Etheric evolving as AI and edge technology reshape the industry?
well, what we're working on right now, we have three engineers working on making AI completely secure, so
Mm-hmm.
that you can we can invite a hacker group in, like, okay, guys, try to break this. Be that level of confident, because things like SOC 2 and these different security certs, um,
Right.
they don't actually guarantee you that your data won't get compromised. They just indicate that your behaviors are such that it's less likely to.
Correct.
So,
Mhm.
part of that, part of it is absolute security, and then we're looking at, can you have pieces of this completely disconnected from the internet to function, so that there's zero possibility of a breach. So there's various strategies for making things as secure as possible. And then there's the decision about what direction to take the architecture in. Um, so one area is to build and train models. Another area is to host AI existing vertical solutions. Another area is to simply offer people raw access to the bare metal computes.
Mhm.
Um, and a friend of mine who helped me start Etheric has gone to work at Cruzo AI, and they're
Mhm.
they're just doing. They have an amazing amount of business that is heading their way right now, and that's just for raw computes and or GPU computes, whatever you call those. So and then, of course, there's using this to integrate all your systems, to analyze your systems, and that's what I think a lot of business people are doing now. And the danger is to weaken your own internal workers' skill sets. It can because, like, for example, if I load 5,000 addresses into an AI system, and then some technical specifications say, now tell me X. If I do that for a year, it's going to be like, oh no, it's broken today. I have to go back and use my real tools to do this. Uh, and yeah, I do see a danger of people losing some of their um, hardcore critical skills if that happens.
Right. Right. No, that's you touched upon the utilizing AI to shape current systems and such, just so you're aware. I mean, that's what we do at Scale Advisors AI. So very well versed around the whole AI aspect of it. But it's always fascinating to hear each business owner that I speak to has a different thought process around how AI is going to support. And it's always great to hear what the different thoughts are around that. So thank you for sharing that. Last question for you, really. If there was one challenge that you're having today, one major obstacle, if you were to solve that tomorrow, how do you think that would unlock everything for the organization in the future of the organization? What would that one thing be?
Oh boy. Well, I think the one thing that I would like is about 4 more very expensive employees right now. So it's just we are all having to work so hard,
Right,
and so more profitability so that we can hire more smart people. So we have
right,
a pretty good bench, but it's just with the number of directions we're involved in, we kind of have to have 5 benches, and
right,
um, and we've got kind of 2, and so we've got 2 benches of technical and administrative people that are trying to field 5 different directions of growth. But it's
right,
exciting. So
right.
there's that good part, and so far so good.
What are these expensive what would these expensive people be focused on and doing? And I know you talked about growth, but
Well,
specifically speaking, are
yeah,
you
to put it broadly speaking, we might hire another senior architect. Um, we might hire another double E electrical engineer to look at we might hire another uh, uh, OA&M person and construction person. Um, uh, and I think they mainly would be in the technical area. We also might be interested in uh, the guy I have who's really brilliant at finance crunching is also brilliant at helping us with our AI. So we've sort of stolen him from finance. So uh, probably another young, very smart intern to help us with financial analytics.
that's amazing. Alexander, I love hearing that you all are obviously trending in the right direction for growth. Love to hear that. I would say, thank you for sharing the insights and the perspective, especially around how Etheric is pushing the boundaries of connectivity and infrastructure. If I had a takeaway from our call today, I think my biggest takeaway is you've got the big guys, the Azures and the Amazons of the world having some minor issues here and there where you are standing pretty solid and stable. And I think that's a huge differentiator for the Etheric Network organization. And I think that would be a great reason why people should tune in and connect with your organization to see what you could do for them.
Well, you're most kind,
Um,
Kathryn. Thank you.
yes,
Yeah, and I
absolutely.
just want to explain to your audience.
Oh,
This is we built this log cabin house. We're in
I love
Montana,
it. Oh, I was going to ask.
and then this is a strange uh, drawing that I got of Alexander the Great, and I didn't actually put it up here. I found it posted here this morning. I think my cousin put it up. He's visiting, so
That's wonderful. So
yeah.
this is a family cabin that you're at today.
This is our house, but it looks like a log cabin because it's a log home. But some
That's
people
beautiful.
think, "Are you in a log cabin?" So I'm just explaining the log
Well,
cabin.
thank you for the clarification. I'm
You're
sure that was
welcome.
probably the first question and should have been at the beginning of this
Right.
of this podcast. But everybody has to listen to the whole thing to get to that point, Alexander. So I
Okay.
love that.
Cool. Okay.
Um, Thank you, Alexander. So just to close our conversation now at Scale Advisors AI, we help organizations like Etheric Networks turn insight into execution, aligning data, automation, and strategy so growth stays resilient and even when markets shift. You can learn more at scaleaai.com or connect with me on LinkedIn at Kathryn Aimaq. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, keep scaling, keep adapting, and stay resilient. Thank you, Alexander.
All right. Thank you.